So I get a call saying that the exhibition champ has to go to Tijuana, Mexico.
Hello? Trevor Lee's here, exhibition champion.
I've been walking around looking for El Promoter.
I think there's a problem. Doesn't look like the exhibition champion's on that. So this can't be the show.
I still don't know what's going on around here.
I see my name on the poster out there. I didn't see my picture on the poster.
But fortunately, I'm here to spread the gospel.
El Promotor?
And no matter who I wrestle tonight, the wonderful people of Mexico will leave knowing that together we are Trevor.
Hey, yo, it's me, it's the R-A-V, back again for the Heelcast, and again, we got another 2 Live crew this week, and again with me is my man, Hurls. Hurls, what's up, bud?
Oh, not much, just living the life and ready to talk some Impact Wrestling, formerly known as TNA, formerly known as GFW.
Nothing's for sure.
With that Al and the anthem and all of that, yeah, we're talking that show. I'm Hurls. I still actually don't know what the name of the company is. I believe it's Impact, which is my least favorite name. But hey, you know what? We're here. We're talking it. Recapping the week that just was. I can't remember what day of the week it was. I believe it was October the 19th last week. We got some Impact Wrestling going down. A lot to talk about. Not only the show, but just kind of in the news. Not a lot of news, but some really big news. But as we do that, we'll go ahead and start off with the plugs here as normal. First of all, I don't have my plug list, but look, always check out my man Big Ray's show, which is hashtag the Impact is Packed. Always head over to impactasylum.net. And also want to give props now to impactasylum.net. I actually mentioned last week that we had Impact Asylum pulling the Eli Drake and Bobby Lashley interview. That has happened. It is posted on impactasylum.net. And also, something that was very fucking cool about it is Impact Wrestling themselves actually tweeted out to their followers the interview with Drake and Lashley with ImpactAsylum.net. So, I mean, very cool, very big thing for ImpactAsylum.net. Very happy to be a part of that show or that website there and all the things that they've done to us. So check that out. Also, of course, on ImpactAsylum.net, not only can you find the Heelcast, you can also find Heelcast member FK9 in his straight shooting show. You can always go to Impact Discussions. Another podcast on there is Hot Fire with Fire Guy, who actually is one of the two that got the interview with Drake and Lashley. So always check that out there. Of course, PD and Dennis over at the Wrestling Perspective. How can I forget our boy Robert Does Wrestling, Heelcast member Robert. Robert, Puerto Rico. Dealt with that hurricane there. Robert, we're glad you're safe and got out of there good, man. And, Robert has told me he cannot wait to come back into the Heelcast as soon as things get going back for him. So, Robert, we miss you. Can't wait to have you back on, my friend. Also, of course, our listener, supporter, One of a Kind. So LB One of a Kind, check out his One of a Kind Elite podcast as well. Also, man, gave him props last week, but again, if you're not following my boy BQ at the Impact Lounge, check out BQ. And also, again, in case you missed it, last week, Chef, our boy Chef at the Heelcast, Chef and Kyle are back with us full time. His heads is not going on. They never left us, but Chef and Kyle are back with us. And we can't wait to have Chef back on again. We had Kyle on a couple weeks ago, but Chef has a new clothing line, man. And so you want to go to his designsbyhumans.com/HeelTeam6. So, man, look, and Chef is showing us shit that he's doing all the time. I mean, Chef is working hard at this. Very cool designs. I mean, if you've seen Impact Wrestling, you see Chef's shirts out there. You see his signs, you see his artwork, you see what Chef does. I mean, it's street stuff. It's very cool, man. It's Chef being Chef, and that's our design. That's our boy. That's Impact. Just check out Chef, support it. Hook the boy up, man. It's definitely cool stuff out there. Now, Hurls, we're going to move on to the news. And one thing here that I'm going to add to the news, we normally add this in the plugs, but if you're not following Andre Corbeil, friend of the show, probably the best in the business. As far as, like, Impact Wrestling goes, I mean, man, there's no one with a bigger name out there than Andre. As far as a journalist and reporter that does positive things for Impact and gets things going. So if some of you missed it last week, in our on our YouTube page where everyone comes in and comments and whatnot, Andre actually posted in there that he's sworn to secrecy, someone from the Impact Wrestling roster is going to be leaving Impact Wrestling right after Bound for Glory. Andre has the interview with that person coming up, so, I mean, look, there's news there. So if you're not following Andre already, get on there and follow him. I mean, we're going to find out soon enough. So, and I haven't asked Andre. I know Andre's sworn to secrecy. He's not going to tell me. So, Andre, we're looking forward to it, although we're actually a little bit nail-biting there. I mean, Hurls and I kind of speculated on who might be gone at some point soon, but damn, Andre, didn't expect that. So, check that out and follow our boy Andre, everyone. Hurls, speak of the devil, man. We speculated on who might be leaving the company soon. I'm hoping maybe this is the person Andre's talking about, but shocking news this past week. Taryn Terrell left Impact Wrestling. Done.
Surprise, motherfucker.
But it shocked the shit out of me, Hurls. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think it shocked everybody. It didn't really make a lot of sense, especially since she just came back and was just starting to get, big with an angle for the Knockouts Championship. So, shocked she left and pretty disappointing. I just also want to say that I really hope that this was more on Taryn than it was on Impact Wrestling. And if we're to buy what was said between the two, it's because Taryn wants to pursue other contract opportunities, which
you're hired. Yeah.
I'm like, did you not think about this before you came back? So it's very confusing. I don't think we're getting the whole story there, but that's pretty much what I think about the whole matter.
Yeah, look, Charles, I'm not happy about this at all, man. I mean, for one, I went to the Twitter thing where she actually announced on Twitter about it. I mean, first thing I want to say is all the fucking retards on there. They're like, come to WWE, come to WWE. Just fuck you. I'm so sick and tired of seeing that shit. And, I mean, really, she was there. They didn't even use her as a wrestler.
Those titties.
It's frustrating. But, look, man, there's two things more frustrating about that by far. And one is that this happens again. This happens so much with this company. And, like it happened with Pritchard. It happened with Kubirik. But now even under Anthem, with new ownership, we have in this, I mean, look at Low Key, it's happened with him. But, I mean, we have another wrestler who basically is gone, despite being shown on TV coming up here, is actually in a big fucking angle going into Bound for Glory for the Knockout Championship at the biggest pay-per-view of the year. And she's gone. I'm not going to do the match. And it's like, I'm not sure if this was a PPA deal that she had or if they actually let her out of her contract or something, but it's unacceptable. And it's something that's plaguing this company for years now. And it's very embarrassing. It's very frustrating. And, I mean, I can't believe that they actually let her leave now. And the worst part about it is, like, what is Bound for Glory, 2 weeks away from now? So she comes back and literally works for, like, a week as they do these marathon tapings. And this is another fucking reason. Not only is the Orlando crowd dead as shit by the time it happens, but you can't make you can't alternate things or switch up. Say fucking Sexy Star rips Rosemary's arm completely off, and Rosemary can't come back or whatnot. I mean, we dodged a bullet there, but I mean, dude, like, they had this match planned. She's been in Angles. It's a big comeback. We get Taryn back. She works about a week. Months go by, and she's done. And the thing is with Taryn, I mean, okay, you want to go pursue other career opportunities? That's fine. Okay, you don't want to wrestle anymore. We get it. Okay, one, you said that at the end of 2015, start of 2016, kind of shafted the company, but okay, we understand. You somehow decided to come back, but you worked a week, and then right before Bound for Glory, you decided to leave. Aaron, it's hard to support you when you could have at least fucking shown up, wrestled one match, walked away. And I've heard rumors or something that she cannot actually go to Canada because of that incident with her and Galloway, the domestic violence thing. I don't know if that's the case.
Just stand up.
But that's unacceptable in a way, too, because, look, the company books her for this match. At the time this is happening, we're all expecting Bound for Glory to be in Orlando, and it seems like Impact did as well. You got to think these things through when you move to Canada, or when you decide to move it to Canada. I mean, as far as I know as well, like they were advertising to the Orlando crowd, and people were purchasing tickets to actually go to Bound for Glory. But I mean, it shafts the company. It switches the entire main event. The big thing, like she's been the one focused with Gail Kim in this feud. This is Gail's fucking like retirement, her walk away, like her swan song, and they're pushing the her and Taryn thing a whole lot more than anything with her and Sienna or her and Allie, and it's gone. It sucks. I mean, Taryn, you could have just kept around and did the match and left. But, you know, it was nice having her back while it lasted. Taryn, you looked good, but, you know, I don't have a whole lot of respect for you right now, and it's hard to see you fuck over this company and this Roster and the fans. Hurls, I don't know if you got anything else to chime in.
No, I think that's pretty much it. I agree 100% with what you just said. There's just so many questions unanswered, and you know, maybe she can't go to Canada, but I mean, that would be bad planning on Impact Wrestling's part then. So that's really all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating, man. I mean, just to be honest, look, it's new ownership, completely new direction and everything, but it's still the same stupid, unacceptable shit show problems happening again. That's plagued this company really, man, since 2010 when the new regime came in and Pritchard was in charge. But it's just, the thing is, if they had her under PPA or a very short-term contract, they should have never put her in this position to be in this match knowing that she could walk away. And, I mean, we had Low-Key. They let him out of his contract because he gets upset. Yet, you know, we never had that blow-off. Never saw Low-Key really get rid off TV, and we saw him get pinned over James fucking Storm. So, look, man, moving on. You know, Hurls, I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday, but, you know, we have some chats that we all do on Facebook Messenger, you know, for the Heelcast. There's, you know, the Impact Dude, myself, you, Chef, Kyle. So Kyle, it was Saturday or Sunday morning, but I woke up and Kyle had sent us a message, which was a kind of a, I don't know if it was a text or a tweet or something from a fan who was at an indie wrestling event over the weekend, and it was about Double J showing up for the event, intoxicated. Davey Boy Smith Jr. and him were the big names.
Slapnuts.
And apparently Davey Boy Smith at least tried and gave a shit, but really some harsh things were said about Jeff Jarrett. And you like his performance, the way he appeared, and all that. And it was pretty sad to read, and it was clear that Jarrett had an alcohol problem. But like yesterday was Monday, and the news came out that Anthem had terminated ways with Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and with Global Force Wrestling. So
Slapnuts.
It's not much of a shocker to me. Is along the lines that they had already dropped the GFW name. Jarrett had kind of taken all Impact stuff out of his Twitter profile. But Hurls, I mean, to start, man, your thoughts on this for one?
Well,
I guess just about him leaving. I'm sorry, we're going to break this into 3 different parts. But I mean, just the fact that he's terminated and they let him go. We'll start with that.
okay. The fact that he was terminated and let go, it doesn't really surprise me. I think he was legitimately sent home because of his drinking problems. And when you hear a story of what happened over the weekend, I think that made it clear to Ed Nordholm and Anthem that he wasn't really serious about getting help for his addiction. So, you know, you can't have a guy that's going to be just, you know, showing up messed up all the time. I mean, he's a danger to himself and he's a danger to everyone around him. So, as far as the first part, it doesn't surprise me that he was let go and no longer to be on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I think this probably was the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest with you. I think actually we were kind of actually talking about this stuff before any of this actually happened, but I mean, Kyle had pointed out, look, there's probably no reason he's coming back because why would they have gotten rid of the GFW name and all, which was a good point. It's just weird that everything kind of came, you know, full circle. Just what I want to say here, man, is Jeff Jarrett has an issue, and it's out in the public, it's out in the limelight, and we know how the IWC and wrestling people and just the internet and people in general can be. So that's going to make it that much harder. But more than anything, man, I hope Jeff Jarrett gets himself taken care of and gets better. You know, Jeff has a wife. Whether people like his wife or how they got together is one thing, but look, Kurt's happy, married on his own. These two apparently seem happy. There's children involved. There's family. There's people that care about Jeff and all involved. So, I mean, look, the most important thing in seriousness is that Jeff gets the help at some point that he needs before, this clearly gets the best of his entire life and his family. Because as I admitted to multiple people, whoever listened to the show last week, I mean, I've had these issues myself, and one of my vices back in the days was alcohol. And I'll be honest with you, out of like my addiction problems, alcohol was at least the easiest one to get rid of, but it also was the most destructive. Alcohol, when you have alcoholism problems, I mean, it makes you less productive. It causes you to do a lot more dumber shit and saying things you don't mean. But, I mean, alcohol, as far as that stuff goes, I mean, it can really bring out the worst out of anyone. And I just hope that Jeff Jarrett does get himself taken care of. And, one thing that I want to say and bring up, man, is a lot of shit when the alcohol problems hit, a lot of it will tend to deal with traumatic incidents happening. And my buddy Old School Heel, actually, we were talking a little bit today earlier, and one thing that he said that I had thought of too myself was maybe Jeff Jarrett's issues got a whole lot worse drinking after he was let go and sent home by Anthem and Impact. And that's one thing that people need to take into consideration. I really feel like maybe Ed and Anthem and all that should have offered to send Jarrett into rehab, or at least give him the ultimatum to go do it. And obviously Jeff was told to go home and get himself better, and that didn't work, but there's different aspects to it. Hurls, I don't know if you have anything to chime in before I kind of bring up the second part here.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, it could have definitely set something off. If you get sent home from something you love to do, that obviously is pretty devastating. And, this was kind of his rebirth, and we were all, real excited for him to be back with Impact. He's the founder. He created this brand. He created the identity. So I think that him being sent home was just a major kick in the nuts. But, the problem was he's had these issues now that we've known about for probably a good 5 years. I said that earlier. He had issues stemming from an indie show with Ian Rotten, I believe, or Axel Rotten, one of them two. And he was yelling at his son. Him and Karen, they caused quite the scene at that indie show. And they were both saying that, that Jeff was pretty drunk, and Karen was as well. So there was that we heard about. And, as much as I dislike Rebby Hardy, and I don't really trust her word a lot, she also said that Jeff gave her a lot of drunk text messages. So you really hope that he can go get help. And I know the WWE, they have a policy where they'll send any of their past performers to rehab for free. So hopefully he takes advantage of that at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, those are actually two things I didn't know about. And we're going to talk about Rebby Hardy and her words a little bit later here. The thing is, man, he could have sent her plenty of drunk text messages. Doesn't mean it was trying to hit on her or send dick pics or whatnot. It's if you're drinking all the time and you're drunk and you have to talk business. And trust me, I'm sure Rebby can fucking text him and stay up a tree and bark up all the wrong shit, talking all the shit she wants about Matt and Jeff and all, to get him upset and respond back. So, I mean, look, Rebby, I take that with a grain of salt. But, look, the fact is, Jeff Jarrett spent his whole life in the wrestling business. His father, Jerry Jarrett, running his company. And then, we all see Jeff go from there in that company, then to the WWF, WCW, kind of bounce back and forth. And then when they collapsed and there wasn't a place to go, this man founded TNA. There was WWF, there was Indies, Ring of Honor just recently started, but I mean, Jeff founded TNA, and he's been his whole life here. When they did that invasion angle in 2015, when it was a shoot, and they say Jeff was talking about how he didn't think he'd ever step foot back in TNA, and Karen says you have to understand this is his baby. I mean, that's fucking probably legit real. He spent his whole life in this, and then to lose out on his company to try and start GFW with all his ambitions to really create another promotion, and then to get back with the company that he started and to merge the two together. I'm sure there was a lot, and this was probably devastating to him, his psyche. It probably caused a bigger issue. And, you bring up the WWE wellness policy and all. The word and rumors out there, like Jeff and Vince, Vince fucking hates Jeff because he started TNA and all. So who knows if that would be open to Jeff Jarrett. But, Jeff, and even if it's Karen, hope you get your shit together. I really do. Now, Hurls, basically, man, the second part of this, and this is the stuff that I've been real worked up and heated on with a lot of stuff to say is, look, the effect of Jeff Jarrett being gone from Impact Wrestling. I'm going to go ahead and start with you. I know you said that you and we were pretty happy that Jeff was back at the company. There's a lot of I've been on Asylum a lot since the story broke, and there's some shit I got to address and say, but, I want to hear what you have to say as far as, Jeff leaving the company, good thing, bad thing. It's on you, man.
I definitely don't think it's a good thing. I think Jeff brought a certain flavor, a certain style, a certain presence to the Impact brand. I think Jeff really knew how to mix it up, and he really knew how to, you had variety. I think you had just all these different wrestlers from all over the world coming to Impact, showing their craft. And I think that's going to be sorely missed. I think Jeff's style of booking is a very exciting one, and I don't think that we're going to get that again, that original Impact flavor. I'm hopeful because Scott D'Amore is still there, and Sanjay. Hopefully they keep Dutch because he's a brilliant mind. But I feel like the Impact brand is definitely going to take a hit, and I hope I'm wrong, but Jeff, he created it and he had the vision for it, and I feel like when he's not there, that vision's kind of gone and it turns into something else. Not saying I didn't like the stuff in 2016 because I did, but I felt kind of nostalgic in 2017, like, oh, okay, this is kind of what I remember, liking about Impact to begin with. So that's very unfortunate that he's gone, and I think the product will take a hit. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope once kind of the dust settles, we kind of get a more consistency booking. But overall, Jeff leaving, it's not a good thing. I know a lot of people are Jeff Jarrett backers, so it's too bad because Jeff has a brilliant mind and he's been in the business for forever, pretty much. So,
Rose, look, like I said, man, this topic and all that, I had to do the show this week. There's a lot I want to say, so I'm going to apologize to you in advance. But from not only what I feel personally, but all the shit I've seen talked on TNA Asylum or Impact Asylum by the fans. Look, man, for one, if anyone thinks this is anything but terrible or awful for this company, you are out of your fucking mind, okay? And this is the RIB's opinion, but it's fucking fact, okay? Look, this is the worst thing that could have happened to Impact Wrestling, to lose Jeff Jarrett, okay? And here's the thing, man. Do I think that Jeff Jarrett is a saint? Do I think he's perfect? Do I think he is the God be all end all for the wrestling business overall? No, absolutely not. I'll go back to the start with Jeff Jarrett because people have complaints about Double J and all in the original days of TNA. So here's his fucking fault. So glad you admit to. So look, for one, Jarrett was always the champion really for a lot of years. He really was at the top of the card the whole time. And I'm going to start by saying this from about the start of the company, 2002 to 2004, 2005 area. If you do not understand why Jeff Jarrett was a champion most of those years and kind of kept himself on top, you don't really fucking understand the wrestling business, to be honest. When they're trying to get off of the pay-per-view thing that they're doing, that's kind of cost them a lot of money, that's not cost efficient, and when they're trying to get to network TV, they absolutely need a guy with a big name, top star that people are going to recognize in order to get there. So, look, do I wish that Jeff Jarrett would have the first AJ Styles title reign and Raven's title reign, do I wish they would have lasted a lot longer? Yeah, absolutely I do. But when you're trying to get onto FS1 or Spike TV at the time, in those years, people are going to want to be like, okay, next network executive is not going to be like, you know what, whoever this fucking AJ Styles guy is, that's our guy. No, you want the belt on Jeff Jarrett. You want it on like a Diamond Dallas Page or Ray, like a name that they fucking understand and is big enough back then to start with. Okay, but yeah, Jarrett, I feel like he kind of pulled the rug out from a lot of wrestlers that were champion at the time and put himself over. Basically, Jarrett was kind of the Triple H of TNA at the time. There were times it would be frustrating. I'll admit to that. And truthfully, prior to 2010, I've never been so mad at anything that happened with that company other than they're as mad as I was when Jeff Jarrett won that King of the Mountain match and took that belt off of Christian Cage. I thought that was terrible. I was real pissed at that. And, you know, truthfully, the Vince Russo storylines, keeping Russo around for so long, there were times when Impact, or Jesus Christ, I used to never be able to not call it TNA. There were times when TNA back then, the product in general for a period of time, I mean, it would be like every other year. It was just so terrible to watch storyline-wise with some of the stuff Russo was doing and putting on the air. And I want to say like 2008, I feel was like really bad storyline-wise overall, but there was just some Russo shit that just really plagued it, and it was the wrestling itself that was really saving the company and making it watchable. But, you know, it's the fucking thing, though, man, like, I've heard people say that, and this is the ridiculous argument, that Jeff Jarrett almost bankrupt TNA when he started it, and it was Dixie Carter saving it, so Jarrett flunked there. Look, you could have probably taken fucking Hulk Hogan, John Cena, like a lot of these guys who have made a lot of money in the wrestling business, and they could have tried to start NWA TNA, and they would have had financial issues as well. You needed someone wealthy and really rich. Like, Jarrett may have made a lot of money, but running that thing is expensive as hell. Okay, when you were, at the time, the number 2 wrestling company, trying to compete with the WWF at the time, it's real expensive for anyone who's not super wealthy. So that argument is so fucking stupid. And I hate hearing that shit. And, you know, Jarrett's kind of like everyone else in America. You're not fucking filthy rich. So, look, that's stupid. I've also heard people say that, you know, he failed trying to get GFW launched up. Well, duh, okay? Cable has changed. Wrestling's popularity has changed. There's already established brands. It was going to be hard for him to get GFW going from the start. I mean, yeah, look, did he make a mistake sleeping with Karen when she was married to Kurt? Yeah, that lost his power. But, look, I believe Kurt actually cheated on Karen first. Still not defending it, but, I mean, if the rumor about Dixie sleeping with Kevin Nash is true, she's kind of a hypocrite for kicking him out of that position. But here's the real thing here, Hurls, and I'm sorry, man. I know I'm tagging along, but Jeff Jarrett back then, until he got removed from power, the fucking one guy who literally the only fucking person to ever grow this company was when Jeff Jarrett was in charge. They were never competition for the WWE, but they were clearly on their way. They were slowly growing, and before he got removed, they were actually doing that afterwards. We all know the story there. He built one of the greatest rosters ever assembled talent-wise in the history of this business. That was all Jeff Jarrett knowing talent. Okay, he actually created an alternative to the WWE. If you look at the X division, what he did with that was groundbreaking. Tag team division, also created one of the greatest tag team divisions in the history of pro wrestling within this company. And that whole thing that was a joke called women's wrestling, if it weren't for Jeff Jarrett, women's wrestling would still be a fucking joke. Jeff gave the knockouts the platform to go out there and show what they can do. Like, Jeff Jarrett did so much stuff. And, like, seriously, when Kurt Angle came in, there were no more Jeff Jarrett title reigns. This guy's the only person ever been in charge of this company who's fucking grown it and been successful and not ran it to the ground. So anyone thinking that this is the wrong person, they're so happy he's gone, you're a fucking idiot. So there's that part, Hurls. Before I go into the new stuff, anything you want to chime in as far as past there, prior to him getting removed from power the first time around?
You know, the first time around that he got removed was not good because it pretty much led to Hogan and Bischoff running wild with the product. And then, you know, there was rumors that he was going to buy the company with Toby Keith, and that never went through. And then we got the whole John Gaburik running the whole show, basically. He did bring in Russo for a time, but, you know, it's really sad. Like, this is the worst thing that could happen right now because, you know, we were so excited to get Jeff Jarrett back and, you know, have his creative mind on the team. And then he goes and, you know, just has a bunch of personal problems with drinking. So it's just really bad timing, and I really hope that, sometime they can do business again, and it just sucks. It's like another kick in the nuts for Impact fans. So, I hope Jeff gets well, and I hope he gets his problem solved. But other than that, that's really all I have to say. I'm going to remain optimistic that this brand can be what, it can be great. And I hope it can be great, but there's just so much in the backstage that keeps happening that just takes away a lot of the enjoyment from the fans. So
that's true. And here's the stuff with Jeff Jarrett since he came back that I'm going to be honest about too, Paul. So, and I also want to point out the fact that after Jeff Jarrett got removed from being in charge the first time around, like you mentioned all the people that came in charge. Back then, the fact that any wrestler would actually choose Ring of Honor over going to TNA was fucking insane. Like, you would be out of your mind. Ring of Honor became like a better option for most wrestlers. It came to that point without Jarrett. So there's that to start. But look, man, since Jarrett came back, I'll be honest. Have I liked everything that's went on? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think this Bound for Glory card sucks. I think these past tapings that we watched have been shitty. We've still had some of the issues with talent leaving, like we talked about earlier. I think that Rockstar Spud, jobbing out to midgets and just kind of being put away is stupid, and it's a terrible decision. I think Bram deserves a lot better. I think they had something really special going with Ali, and they've killed off pretty much everything that they had with Ali. I don't like the fact that the WWE guys are being pushed really to the top, and I hate the fact that Grado has a better build and bigger match than James Storm, Eddie Edwards, and EC3, and I absolutely hate what they have done to EC3, okay? I'm not saying Jeff Jarrett's perfect. I'm not saying this new regime has been flawless and that everything they've done I've agreed with or been happy with. But that said, there's been a whole lot more positive than there's been negative. And, I mean, the first thing since they first came in leading up to Slammiversary, and then we have Destination X, and then we had the show afterwards where Eli won the belt. I think fantastic job, and that was the best Impact had been in years to start with there. But look, man, we had the X Division return. Okay, the X Division, which was so special in building this entire company, that went to complete shit. We didn't know what the hell it was. Like, the people that were in charge of it didn't understand it. He gets rid of Shane Helms, brings in Sanjay Dutt. We actually have the X Division looking like the X Division again. It was getting featured a lot. I mean, we don't see shit like Marche Rocket and Braxton Sutter in the matches. The X Division was back. The knockouts, we got a lot more knockouts back into the company, really refocusing on that. We only have a couple of tag teams right now, but we actually had some tag teams and tag team wrestling. The fucking view and everything that Global Force Wrestling was supposed to be was to be this big national thing. All these partnerships we have, Noah, Crash, AAA, all that stuff, I mean, that was Jarrett's vision for it happening. And most of those deals and partnerships that we have that will probably go on to the Global Wrestling Network to probably make them more money is because of Jeff Jarrett and his vision. What else, man? We had Jim Cornette come back, someone who was always negative and trashing it, was giving positive talk. We've seen Conan. LAX is over as fuck, and they became a credible tag team when there was no credible tag teams in there because of what Conan has done. That's him. Probably would have never gotten Johnny Impact without Jeff Jarrett. I'll tell you that I guarantee you we never would have gotten Matt Sydal to sign with this company over Ring of Honor had it not be for Jeff Jarrett coming back. And Alberto, when he came in, basically we lost all that star power. We got Alberto. That's because of Jeff. We've got an actual influx of talent, which was a paper-thin roster, and we got talent that's actually talented this time around instead of bringing in your Mahabali Shiras and your Brados and garbage that John Gaburek would do like that. We lost the Hardys, Bennett, Maria, Galloway, all from last year, and Jeff Jarrett brought in so much talent that they weren't missed or a big deal, okay? Like, it's asinine to think that this guy wasn't doing wonders for the company coming back. It takes time, people. He brought in wrestling people to actually be in charge instead of idiots like John Gaburek, okay? And look, bottom line about this, we had a guy who John Gaburek was jobbing out to Grado for most of 2016, who took a backseat to Micah in 2015. Eli Drake right now is so far above and beyond anyone in this entire industry and business, it's not even fucking close. And that's because Jeff Jarrett and his wrestling people gave Eli the belt, okay? There's a lot of things that Jeff Jarrett did for this company, and it's really shitty that he's gone, and this is terrible for the company. So, Hurls, the other thing, man, and people are shitting all over the guy for this, Jeff Jarrett was asked about this, and he had said the Anthem is out of money. So that's obviously not good to hear. I've heard people say that Jeff Jarrett was the reason that rumor about the company going bankrupt or all that was going on. Hurls, what's your thoughts on him saying that, man?
Well, Jeff worked pretty close to Ed Norholm in that, 8-month span that he was there. And I'm sure he got some inside details on the whole thing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I know a guy who just gets fired might be a little bitter about the whole situation, but I think Jeff is leading on to some truth. As much as I don't want to admit that, because it's like, okay, we just got a new company that's got a lot of money, but, do they have a lot of money in this, wrestling terms as far as how much they're allowed to spend on Impact Wrestling? So I think I'm willing to believe that there's some truth there to Jeff's claim. And then if you kind of follow that up with the Sports Illustrated article, which was kind of, which seemed to be fake at the time, or at least fabricated a great deal, I think it's kind of a scary thing that he's saying that they don't have money, and then you're seeing a lot of these wrestlers leave. I definitely think there's some truth there, and it's not a good thing. It's definitely a bad thing. So, but at the same time, Impact Wrestling has denied it, which even if it was true, you'd probably still deny it anyway. So it'll be interesting to see in the next year if more reports come out backing Jeff Jarrett's claim.
Hurls, I'm glad we're kind of on the same page here. Look, man, one thing with the Heelcast, we try to stay positive and all that, but we keep it real here too, whether it's one of us that feels the same way or different than the others. I mean, we state our opinions, right? And we don't sugarcoat or blow smoke up the company's ass. Honest to God, for one, when Jeff Jarrett says that Anthem is out of money, he doesn't mean Anthem as a whole is out of money. What he's saying is Anthem is out of money for what they're going to give to our fund Impact. Yeah, man. I mean, look, and I see so many people on Asylum, they'll stand up and Jarrett doesn't know what he's talking about. He's drunk. He's starting rumors. He's bitter and whatnot. I'm sure he's bitter. But look, the fact is, man, he's got friends in the industry too, and friends that are working for him at that company. For him to go out and say that is basically, trying to tell his friends to lose their job and all that. It's kind of stupid and selfish if you think that's the case. I believe that there's quite a bit of truth to that, man. I do. And, the fact is, this company, when they came out, legitimately made a statement about how they're a company of content. We have the Global Wrestling Network, okay? Basically, they can use that and just stop with Impact. If that's what they want to do, they can still have that content on there and people will pay for it. Fuck, I'll still pay for it. And they got what they needed out of Jarrett too, which was some of these partnerships with Crash, with Lucha, with Smash. I mean, they've got things in there to kind of make money for a nostalgia thing. In fact, too, with Anthem, man, is that I think a lot of people don't realize Anthem's owned a lot of companies that they've just get bankrupt and dropped when they weren't making money is the thing. And who's to say GFW, TNA, whatever you want to call this, they're not going to do the exact same thing if it doesn't progress where they want it to. I'm sure Jarrett probably made some promises he'd get them back on Spike if they do this and that. And they talked about a 5-year plan, and hopefully they stick to it. Hopefully that's the thing. It would be terrible if this company went under or, they are not going to fund Impact anymore. But we are losing some talent. We are seeing some names leave. And, I do think there is some truth to it. I really do. And it's disappointing and it sucks. But, I think the Global Wrestling Network is really kind of be the be-all, end-all for this. There's definitely some shit going on that people don't fucking understand. And I think people going out here to rush and bash Jarrett for what he said and saying he's lying and full of shit, you probably don't know the truth to it. I don't know it. We don't know it. We know Jeff Jarrett knows more than us, okay? And honestly, man, what I truly feel, Hurls, what I truly fucking feel is that this GWN is going to be make or break for everything here. And I think that, honestly, the thing that they really, really, really got to do is they've got to continue Lucha Underground, like, next season that they got going on. Like, this network needs to be able to carry it and do it, to be honest with you. I don't know what it's going to make, but, look, it's going to have a decent enough of a cult following that should bring them some money. I'm sure we'll never see New Japan or Ring of Honor get on there, because we know how Ring of Honor is towards TNA, and it's just, they're a fucking joke. But honestly, Hurls, answer me this, man. How much of a market and a following do you think Crash, AAA, Noah, and Smash Wrestling, how much revenue do you really think they're going to bring? How many people do you think really fucking are so into it that they're going to pay a shitload of money? They're going to pay $8 a month to watch it?
Well, Pro Wrestling Noah used to be, it was never the top wrestling organization in Japan, but it was definitely number 2 or 3. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. There's a lot of good history with Pro Wrestling Noah. And the other thing is AAA is obviously the most popular brand in Mexico. They draw big crowds. So, if you play your cards right, and advertising to that fan base, that would be something. But are they the biggest things, in the wrestling world right now? No, they're not. And I don't know how much of a big draw. I think they're just kind of like an extra add-on to all of this. Obviously, Impact is the main draw. That's what everyone wants to see. So, to answer your question, I think maybe a little bit, but nothing substantially big.
Yeah, I think, honestly, man, the way that I look at it is this. For a casual fan in the U.S., I don't know how they're going to market it in Mexico, Japan, and, like, globally. They don't market shit, period. Like, I mean, this company's main fault has been marketing for a long time. But I don't think that they're the big enough, like, as far as trying to get a casual fan that may have used to watch TNA or, convince them to kind of watch it, this is going to be the main draw for, like, any of them, really. And they have a big enough issue with that to start with. I'm a big wrestling fan. I mean, I'm nowhere near the wrestling fan I used to be, but I'll be honest, I could give 2 shits of ever watching Noah, Crash, AAA. Like, I will never fucking watch it, This is strictly the GFW network for me. I don't know how big of a following they have. And most of these, the big followers of these other 3 companies, other than Smash, I mean, you can pretty much, I'm sure you can watch AAA in Mexico. I'm sure you can watch Crash in Mexico. I mean, it's just, I feel like Lucha Underground is really going to be something that they have to get. But, and the other thing I want to add to it before we move on, and I'm sorry this is boring to folks, but when there's smoke, there's fire, and basically he sent this tweet out as basically the identical tweet, but Bully Ray had came out and said, again, to the Impact Wrestling roster, it's never been you guys that are the problem. What was it about being management or Anthem or something? He sent the tweet out a while back and was, and we mentioned it on the show, but he sent it out again today for some reason. Hurls, when Impact Wrestling is coming to Canada, Gail Kim's home country, in her farewell tour, and she responds, "Thank you, Bully." There's definitely some shit going on in there. And your opinion on this?
Well, first I'll start with the Bully Ray. He's been very anti-Impact for like probably the last 3 years. He has not really said much positives about it. I know one of our fellow Heelcasters has said that he goes on the Busted Open radio show and he usually is negative about the whole thing. He's just kind of, with this tweet, he's stirring the pot a lot with this, and it's almost like he's trying to get wrestlers to leave Impact. Like, I don't know what he has against Impact while he ignores other wrestling companies. He always talks generally good about them most of the time. So I don't know. I don't know what his problem with Impact is. I don't know where they went wrong with him, if it was contract negotiations or what, but that dude should be very thankful for Impact because they were the ones that actually gave him the ball and gave him the Bully Ray character and let him run wild with it. I think it's just bullshit that he's got to send out these tweets, man. Like, from what I know, you work for Ring of Honor. Like, worry about Ring of Honor business. Don't be coming over and trying to get all the wrestlers to leave and trying to cause chaos. Saying this tweet twice now, by the way. He said it twice. It just really looks petty on your part, and I don't know. The more and more I hear Bully Ray, the less I'm really caring for his opinion on wrestling.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this real, dude. So Bully Ray, I'll be honest, Bully Ray was the best heel in wrestling for a while, was legitimately made world champion for a reason, was doing fantastic work. He's one of the best talkers and promos I've seen, especially if you watch some of his ECW days when he was doing TNA wrestling. And as much as I love the Road Warriors and all, the Dudleys, Team 3D, whatever you call them, are the greatest tag team in wrestling history, in my opinion. That said, Bully Ray's a fat fucking dickwad, piece of shit asshole that literally is, yeah, he is trying to fucking stir the pot. His karma comment with that, this company fucking gave you the ball, man, and you want to praise and suck WWE up. They just totally fucking brought you and Devon back to make a DVD and then mock the shit out of you and just bury you and get you out of there. I don't know what your deal is. Yeah, stick to Ring of Honor, okay? Stick to fucking wrestling in front of an all-male audience. I was a bunch of fat, sweaty fucks who just wanted to chant TNA because they've got no life, or chant fuck TNA because they got no life and whatever. But there's clearly something going on behind there, and that is true, okay? Like, I got no love, I got no respect for Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, whatever the fuck he's called, but there's definitely something behind there, and especially to have it be acknowledged like that, there's something going on, and I don't know if it's with Ed, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel like things are going well for this company at all right now. There's definitely some internal shit going on. Who knows what's going to happen, but, not a whole lot of love or respect for Bully to actually throw it out there and say what it was. And look, honestly, dude, you can bring all the Impact Wrestling talent over there. No one's going to give a fuck about Ring of Honor anymore with your paper-thin shitty roster. They're just going to go get buried by New Japan. So, Hurls, let's move on, man. So, I guess funny story of the week. We just saw this before we kind of started doing the show, but so a place called At Leaks Wrestling kind of exposed, like, do you think it was a text message back and forth with Rebby Hardy earlier?
Yeah, I do. Well, I think it was probably on Twitter message is what I think it's coming from.
Do you have the Twitter pulled up right in front of you, that message?
Oh, yeah, the one that she's denying it.
She's denying it. Of course, she's denying it now. But do you have it pulled up, like, in front of your face at the moment? Okay, yes. I've got it pulled up here too now. So here it is, Hurls. So basically, and it's hard to see what it is, but it cuts off at the start with some guy's text message or girl's text message with Rebby Hardy. So it starts at the top. Rebby writes, "Wrapped around my finger. Those retards will buy anything. Slap on a T-shirt." I mean, she's clearly mastering the English language here. "I sold out a Fuck That Al shirt before I had them all printed. Idiots. Haha." So this person responds, "LOL, right? Gotta love this business. You can make a killing off of WWE fans." Rebby's response, "Tenfold for sure. They may be dumber. It would work." Okay, I'll be honest, they're a lot dumber. "I couldn't do anything like this while Matt and Jeff are under contract." Her next text, this is the best part of it all. "Jeff misses Impact. I feel bad for dragging him through that mess." Rebby, you're right. The WWE fans are retards. And anyone that was fucking buying into all the shit that you guys were saying about Fuck That Al and burying Anthem while you guys tried to walk all over them, fuck them over in cahoots with Ring of Honor to go to WWE and fuck everything else up and get your little broken brilliance over to the WWE universe so they could ruin it. And your fucking douchebag fat husband actually trademarked his actual name to that shithole company. Yeah, you're a fucking retard. Any goddamn idiot that every time is on Facebook, I forgot the fucking person's name, but I'll look it up here. Anytime there's an Impact Wrestling post on Facebook, this fucking douchebag types in a comment, "Free Brother Nero." Yeah, anyone following that is a fucking retard. But Rebby, so are you. Okay, it's hilarious. It's super hilarious to me to see just how dumb this bitch actually is and all the stuff that gets leaked out and the stuff she says. Because Rebby, honey, I'm sorry, like, you're not a smart person, and too bad Awesome Kong just didn't beat the living shit out of you. But I mean, the best and saddest part of it all, man, is the comment about Jeff Hardy missing Impact. Look, man, I was never a big Matt Hardy fan at all, but I admit I did enjoy the Broken Brilliance. It got a little tiresome and repetitive and redundant on me, but I've always been a huge Jeff Hardy fan. I've missed the guy. I still do miss the guy from time to time. And it sucks that he misses Impact because I wish we had him there. He was literally the only star power we really had. But, you know, like we said, WWE is not all it's cracked up to be for a lot of people. Hurls, your thought on Rebby eating some crow there? She's denying it, you saying?
Yeah, she's denying it. She's saying that the whole thing is fake. And then a lot of her followers are saying it's fake because this Twitter account only has 5 messages or something. So I'm not real sure on what to believe here, but I can see this being true. I really can. Like, would it surprise any of us if Rebby did actually say something like this? Because it definitely wouldn't. It doesn't surprise me at all. And if it's true and what she says about Jeff, well, darn, man, I hope we see Jeff back real soon then, because I don't know how long he signed with WWE, but I'm hoping that he can get out of that contract because they're really not using him that well. So it's too bad that whole stuff with Ed Nordholm and Anthem and Jeff Jarrett went down, because I would have loved to have the Hardys still in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, she's an idiot, and I guarantee. Look, the Twitter account or whatever probably only has a few tweets or followers or whatnot, and that's probably true. But I'll be honest here, someone could have literally just cracked that and instantly went and started a fucking Twitter page to start exposing this shit. I do think it's true, to be honest. Is what it is. I guess we'll find out. But like, Rebby's an idiot. She'll deny whatever. She says stupid shit and puts her foot in her mouth. And you know, I guarantee this is the truth. I really do. Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to have the Hardys back, but you know, honestly, Matt can go eat a dick. But I'd love to have Jeff back. But I'm sure if even Jeff wanted to come back, it would cause a lot of family problems with his dumbass brother and his even dumber wife. But is what it is. So we're gonna move on to the actual episode of Impact Wrestling here. So. You know, Hurls, this wasn't too bad of a show. I mean, look, I've been sour on these tapings and all, but it wasn't too bad of one. So we open up with Johnny Impact defeating Chris Adonis. So afterwards, you know, we see the champ Eli Drake and Adonis kind of come in and attack, or Eli Drake come in, they attack Johnny Impact, tries to escape, it ends up getting whipped with the belt until Garza comes out and makes the save. Hurls, comments, thoughts on this one?
You know, I thought the match was fine. I think Chris Adonis, like I said, I think people really got to give him a look, because I think he's better than people give him credit for. Obviously, with the way that he's using Garza Jr., you know, it kind of makes sense for him to help out in this match, but at the same time, it's still so random. So it's hard to really know where they're going with it, but as far as the match goes, I thought it was a good match, and I know these two have had history in the WWE, so it was cool to finally see them in an Impact Wrestling ring, and yeah, it was a good way to start off Impact. It had good storyline progression too.
Yeah, I mean, they're giving Garza this push out of nowhere. You know, I had some comments on it last week, and you know, my boy Count, who we don't always agree on literally everything. We agree on most. Is my boy for life. I enjoy the shit talking, the smart ass that he is, the wittiness and joking back and forth. Him and I will do. You know, and I respect Count's opinion a lot, man. He says that he does kind of see a star in Garza, which I don't. I respect it, but look, man, we can both agree Garza's a good wrestler. They're giving him this push, which is out of nowhere. I think it's weird that we have a guy getting such a big push right now, but it seems like they don't have a match for him at Bound for Glory. If he does, I mean, the only thing you think of is he's going to wrestle Adonis or some kind of like multi-match or gauntlet for gold or whatnot. But, you know, it wasn't too bad at all. I mean, look, Johnny Impact can go in there and have a decent match with just about anyone. The other thing we were talking about, I mean, Hurls, we talked about Adonis how Adonis should kind of get a break from people last week. There's been some backlash on that. You know, Count and myself talked about it. And, you know, I don't think that Adonis is taking away a lot of stuff from people. But, yeah, Count still feels that Adonis should be gone. And I'll give props to this, and I want the audience to listen to it too. So Cal's kind of suggestion was, instead of Adonis in that place, why not someone like KM or Wilcox from VOW in that spot? I like the KM suggestion a lot because I think KM deserves to be booked better than this. But I also know Cal kind of wants Wilcox in that position just so we can kind of get rid of Crimson. But, not too bad. But, I still feel Adonis in this role isn't too terrible at all. I don't think he's taken away from a lot of people. And I also feel like Eli's not always going to be the champ. We're going to need tag teams like side feuds and what all. I mean, putting Drake with Adonis together and brief tag team, I mean, that's a credible tag team to be champ at some point. But the other thing, man, just real quick before we move on, while we're on this Adonis discussion, like over Impact Asylum, I hear people talking about which GFW and Jarrett guys need to go and what all. I mean, I've seen people literally say that Karen Jarrett. So a guy was kind of standing up for Chris and Adonis, like we had said he's not too bad. And someone had said, Karen Jarrett wasn't terrible this time around. And I've heard people literally, and people were liking it and saying that the fact that this person said Adonis and Karen Jarrett weren't that too bad was that this person actually hates Impact and wants to see them fail. And people agreed with it. And it wasn't like a joke and sarcasm. It was actually kind of serious. Look, I'm going to say this right now. Impact Wrestling ratings have kind of dropped and taken a shit a little bit. It has literally fucking nothing to do with Chris Adonis or Karen Jarrett being on TV, okay? Literally none of that. And we hardly even see Karen Jarrett on TV. So I'm just saying that, man. But, it wasn't too bad. Definitely did its purpose with the storyline progression. So sorry for rambling there. Hurls, I'm going to kick this one to you for a minute because this is going to be Raven's little rant here. But we go to Cancun, Mexico. We have a special 5-man match. It is EC3, James Storm, Eddie Edwards, the GHC champion. I believe it's GHC. Tishano and Phantasma in a 5-way match. And this match ends with Tishano getting a pinfall victory over Ethan Carter III, the guy who was the fucking franchise of this company at one point. Hurls, what were your thoughts on this match, my friend?
Well, first I'll just start off by saying that it was cool to see a different location on Impact, and it was cool that we had, we had a different arena, and it's cool that we were, watching this match in Cancun, Mexico. I thought that part was cool. But the match to me itself really didn't make sense. So you have 3 Impact guys and you have 2 AAA guys. And they were working together, but I feel like they should have worked together even more, especially since, okay, you have the advantage. You have the man advantage. And what else really makes sense was Phantasma and Tejano were basically fighting each other right from the start, yet in storyline, they're supposed to be friends. So, I mean, the really only thing we got from this whole thing was that Josh Matthews basically said that these two hate each other and they're rivals in Mexico. So, but the thing is, we're watching Impact. We're now watching AAA. So, as far as we know, they're aligned and they're going to be taking on these 3 wrestlers from Impact. The match itself was good. It was really good. Someone had to take a pin, and unfortunately, for you, it was EC3, but it didn't bother me as much as it's going to bother you. But I felt like it was still kind of dumb how they lost the match, especially, essentially it was a 3-way, and they should have probably, worked it out a little better, especially since the storyline is that they're kind of all teaming up, and it's a company war, and that's kind of what the storyline is about. So, overall, the match was good, but there were some question marks that I had about the booking of this match.
So I got a loud motorcycle out right now as I try and record, so anyone that overheard that, my apologies. Hurls, one thing, that I did notice, is that, over in Mexico, AAA or whatnot, clearly the Impact wrestlers were the heels as those two were coming off as the faces, right? Kind of as we see that in Impact. And, you had mentioned about how the other two apparently hate each other on AAA TV. And that's one thing. I mean, look, we know that there's an EC3 and James Storm rivalry going on in Impact, and clearly they were still kind of continuing that back and forth in this match. But, you're right. It was kind of cool to see a match take place outside of Impact on Impact, and this time in Cancun. But here's what I'm going to say, man, is if I were Impact Wrestling, that match would have fucking stayed in Cancun. I would have never fucking allowed that to go on my TV, no matter what it is, storyline progression-wise for me, because I'm fucking disgusted by this, dude. I am fucking disgusted by the way that this happened. Yeah, look, clearly somebody needs to eat the pen, right? But no, I can't fucking sit back here and condone or anything like this anymore, man. I'm so fucking tired of the way that EC3 has been treated and booked and then shat on, and they've taken their fucking either 1A or 1B guy in this company, and they have completely ruined him. 2 years ago, dude, no one could fucking beat Ethan Carter III. No one, okay? He had this awesome fucking win streak. This was literally the only guy in the history of this entire company that they have fucking built perfectly, that they have built right, and it was basically fucking flawless with EC3. This dude was perfect, and he has literally been ruined so fucking bad. And this is on the Jarrett regime, okay? Look, they ruined him towards the end of last year. They turned him face. Losing last year was one thing, but he still looks strong. But, I mean, when he challenged Eddie Edwards for the belt, he should have won it there and ended 2016 as a champ. He should have actually been the guy to beat Lashley afterwards, not Eddie to start with. But, dude, so, okay, you're right. Hurls is 3-on-2 and what all the Impact guys got the advantage and all that, and I get someone's got to take a pin. We have the Noah World Champion Eddie Edwards. We have James Storm, who's like my other guy. Eli, EC3, and James Storm are my guys, right? And I don't like seeing James Storm eat pins. I think he should be the champ too. But EC3 is the fucking franchise. If he's not the franchise, it's Eli Drake. And honestly, Impact TNA, whatever you want to call it, is sitting on a goldmine feud with EC3 and Eli Drake to really kind of be their Austin Rock, that kind of a rivalry for this company. What Bobby Roode and Austin Aries should have been that was failed to do. This dude, literally, I mean, Kurt Angle couldn't beat him. Bully couldn't beat him. Sting, all that. They could not beat EC3, right? So some fucking guy by the name of Phantasma pile drives EC3. Tombstone pile drives EC3, right? And then, like, so much shit happens after this fucking Tombstone pile driver. Like, I think they confront another one. Like, he stops a chair shot. Like, kicks at James Storm. All this shit happens and rolls around. Meanwhile, EC3 is laying there, and then Tejano, whoever the fuck a guy named Tejano is, rolls in this ring after EC3 is just laying there stupidly, covers him after a long fucking time, and gets a 3 count. Like, doesn't even, like, add an extra move to, like, make sure he stays hurt or anything. Just gets a pinfall. EC3 looks so weak, like such a clown. Just his credibility is 100% gone, and I cannot justify or understand how anyone in creative can keep treating this guy this way. And I don't give a shit if it's a Noah heavyweight champion or if it's James Storm. Either one of those fucking guys should have gotten pinned over EC3 if that's what was going to go down. This is absolutely, like, unacceptable to be shown on Impact TV. This is the dumbest fucking thing this company is doing, is ruining this guy. And I'm disgusted, man. It's hard to see this. Like, not only we're heading into Bound for Glory and Eddie Edwards, James Storm, and EC3 have to come to this fucking match. Like, if you want to do the AAA versus Impact or GFW or whatever the fuck the company was called at the time, totally fine with me. I'm all for that angle, but not with these three. These three deserve better. They deserve bigger, and it's disgusting to me to see how much of a joke and how long that pin went before EC3 got pinned, and these are nobodies fucking pinning this guy, and I don't care if they're big in AAA or whatnot. They have not been built enough. They've not had enough time on Impact to actually look like a big deal. It's completely unacceptable the way they've treated EC3, and it's a goddamn joke, and I will not be surprised in the least when EC3 leaves us.
Yeah, I mean, it's from where he was to now, he's definitely taken a step back. And if you ever follow EC3 on Twitter, he's kind of a smart ass, so you don't really know whether he's serious about some of the tweets or if he's joking. But either way, it's something to definitely keep your eye on for sure.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, look, as much as the company built up fucking Matt Hardy, he beat Matt Hardy. He beat Bobby Lashley. Lashley got the pinfall on EC3 in 2016 at Bound for Glory, but the entire year before that, EC3 beat Lashley countless times. He beat Galloway. He beat Mike Bennett after Mike beat him. I mean, EC3 beat everyone. He even beat James Storm recently at Slammiversary and all. I mean, it's just the way that they have booked this guy. It's completely ruined him. And, it used to be when the only goddamn thing I've ever seen Josh Matthews sell in this company was when Mike Bennett pinned EC3 clean. You remember that? And it's just like, okay, the streak finally got beat. He finally got pinned cleanly, right? Although, I mean, truthfully, the Matt Hardy thing, so he gets pinned cleanly. It's a big deal. And then, like Lashley kind of pins him in this tag team match, very nonchalantly, and it's not a big deal. But since then, man, it became such a pedestrian, normal thing to beat EC3 when, honestly, it should always be a big deal, and they should rarely lose. I mean, if you remember when Goldberg lost to Kevin Nash for the first time, it was still, every time Goldberg lost, it was built as a big deal, and it didn't happen very often. I mean, like, I think Brett beat him, Booker T, Sting, and I think Steiner. Like, 4 other guys ever pinned him. I'm sure there's a couple more, but at least in WCW. It's a big deal, and there's no way in hell that they shouldn't have done that with EC3. I mean, if you go back to the old time of wrestling, they're not WWE. They don't have, like, fucking 25 hours of TV that they put on the show every week. I mean, when Hogan would lose, it was very rare, and it was a big deal. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it. They should do the same shit with EC3, and I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to keep going, but it's a fucking disgrace, and I think they're sitting on a gold mine with EC3 and Eli Drake, and this company could actually be really producing and going up in ratings with those two, but instead, they've ruined this. But, Hurls, one thing that I mentioned the X Division stuff with Jeff Jarrett when we were talking earlier, and, the X Division came back. One thing I will say I'm frustrated with is that Destination X, we had Desmond Xavier win the Super X Cup. We saw Matt Sydal get a win over Bobby Lashley, a clean pinfall. They haven't really done shit with either guy since then. But we saw the return of Desmond Xavier, we saw Desmond return last week, but we saw Desmond in single action this week. He defeated Andrew Everett. It's good to see both of these guys back. Very entertaining match with Desmond getting the win. Hurls, your thoughts on this one?
This was a really good match. These two are very, very talented, and I was glad that we got this because, we hadn't seen Desmond Xavier for a while, and, Andrew kind of made the random heel turn. Apparently they said it was from brainwashing, but I enjoyed this match, and it was a great X Division match, and it's getting me very pumped up for Bound for Glory, at least for this match, at least, because I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, look, there's a couple things I am happy about, and I'll go back and say this too, because we're talking about the mistakes the old regime with Jeff Jarrett and all the night. When Loki came back and won the belt that match, it was kind of disappointing because I felt it was Everett's time to get it, and I feel like Everett is a star ready to shine that they just kind of haven't let happen. And it pulled the rug out from Everett, and we hadn't really seen him do shit. But, since that has happened, one thing I've been wanting to see is him and Trevor Lee kind of get back together and do things differently without Helms. You see the character in Trevor Lee kind of portray itself, and now Conley's in there. I like the fact that they put these three together. The North Carolina thing, they're good wrestlers, all of them, that kind of X Division connection. So I'm happy to see them back. Desmond Xavier is a fucking star in the making, and I think the guy should have been on Impact a whole lot more often than he has been recently, but it's good to see both of them back. I think the right guy won with Desmond. I think he needs to be built up to be the star, so but definitely did not need to sleep on Everett. But I think Everett and Lee, or Everett and Conley, should really be a force to reckon with in the tag team division from here on out as well. So, we move on from there, Hurls. So Josh Matthews announces that Taryn Terrell is out of the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship match, so it's going to be Gail versus Sienna versus Allie at Bound for Glory. It's still a good match, man. Those three are still going to perform well. Gail, I think, has not really lost a step. Best women's wrestler ever. Sienna, love her. Allie, love her. So we'll go from there, man. Anything you want to chime in on that one before we go to the next segment?
No, I think the match is going to be good, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll give my prediction on the Bound for Glory preview show that we'll do, but
exactly.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, me too. The two knockouts matches at Bound for Glory are probably the two that I'm looking forward to the most, other than Eli and Johnny Impact, because I think they'll still put on a good show. But one thing I will say, I'm disappointed that we're not going to see is Last Knockout Standing 2. I'd like to see Gail and Taryn do that one more time. Obviously, that's not going to happen at all, ever. So speaking of a part 2, so Grado calls out Joseph Park, and, it leads to him calling him out and whatnot. And so we end up with a contract signing, whereas Grado's, he gets supported if he loses or not, but we're going to get the Monsters Ball match between Abyss and Grado the second time now. It's going to be a Bound for Glory. So the first one, in case anyone missed it, was on January 2016 at the One Night Only live show. As much as I shit on Grado and do not like the guy and hope that he loses this match and it's the end of Grado, I will say that match with Grado is by far the most impressive I've seen him against Abyss in that Monsters Ball. But Hurls, for one, I'll let you kind of give your thoughts on this one for me, bud.
Well, we finally kind of got the heel Joseph Park that we've all been kind of waiting for, and we have it confirmed that Abyss, is going to be at Bound for Glory, do wrestle Grado. But yes, these two have wrestled in a Monsters Ball, like you said, and it was a really good match. If you have the network, go on there and watch this for One Night Only 2016. It's a really good match, and it shows you what Grado can do. He's willing to take bumps. He's willing to take risks. I think this match is going to bring the house down, and I think we're going to get a little of that Jeremy Borash crazy camera work and crazy interferences like we got at Slammiversary. I think it's going to be really, really well, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not going to say I'm necessarily looking forward to it, Hurls. You're right, though. The first one was pretty darn entertaining. And look, if you have a Global Wrestling Network, you can do that. If not, what you can do is go to shoptna.com, order that DVD. I actually have the DVD of that show. It was a very good pay-per-view. Also saw the debut of Mike Bennett, et cetera. But, look, dude, again, Hurls, I think you're kind of right. I think it'll be a little different this time because I do think we'll get some of that Borash, the camera stuff. I think it'll be different than a normal Monsters Ball. And also, I think, not only that, but I kind of feel like Abyss has probably taken enough toll and punishment to where he can't really, perform the way that he used to and also very regularly. But I do agree with you. I think that's going to happen. And, look, just my knock on this is, dude, this match shouldn't happen at fucking Bound for Glory. It shouldn't. And this is actually, and Hurls, before we started recording the show, you even told me this is, like, possibly the most built to and, like, best angle and storyline going on at Bound for Glory, and it has to do with Grado and Abyss, or Joseph Park, and I think that's disappointing when you look at what Eddie Edwards, James Storm, EC3 got going on, etc. Grado versus Abyss and Monsters Ball should not be promoted higher, and like, these two, Grado alone should not have this kind of a push over certain guys on the roster, and I don't feel like he deserves this Bound for Glory spot. And really, Joseph Park, Abyss, the way that he's beat up, shouldn't deserve it either. But it is what it is, and, we'll sit back and enjoy it, hopefully. You mentioned the cameos and appearances, so here's the one thing I'm definitely fucking excited about, the Hurls. My man, James Mitchell, returned again. He came up in the car with Grado. Seems as if the boy James Mitchell is going to be back in Abyss's corner during this match. I'm a huge mark for James Mitchell. I hope he's back permanently. I miss managers in wrestling. I think this dude is one of the greatest of all time. Just a genius, man, at what he does, and I'm excited. I hope he's back permanently. Hurls, you got any thoughts on James Mitchell coming back?
I think it's awesome. I agree with you. He makes Abyss that much more entertaining. He's the mouthpiece. He's the pallbearer of this, of Abyss, so to speak. But he's even more sinister, I think, that laugh. And the way he would get you hyped up for an Abyss match, I think it all comes together. So, yeah, and I just want to clarify that I do think this is the best built match to Bound for Glory. I think they spent the most time building this storyline, and I think a lot of that had to do, though, with a lot of the, unforeseen circumstances with Jeff Jarrett. Kind of had to scrap, his match, and the main event match was kind of out of nowhere without Patron. So this Grado versus Abyss match, it's been building for quite a while now. So It's got really good build, and you add Father James Mitchell on top of that. I think there's definitely going to be something where people are going to have low expectations, but they're going to be very satisfied with the outcome.
Yeah, like, man, I'm not a fan of Grado and his ring work and what his act and all that. I will admit he actually does seem like he is a pretty nice guy, like, in all actuality, so I don't want to, like, say I hope the guy fucking loses his job and all that and has no income or living. So I at least want to clarify that. And look, so we had another thing that I'm just not fucking feeling or digging is our tag team champions, OVE. So they accepted Conan's challenge to defend the tag team titles in AAA. They defeated Black Diamond and was it Black Danger, Black everything. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much. Yeah, I don't have anything to say on this, man. Like, OVE's just kind of disappointed me. I think they should wait to get this build up. I just hope LAX gets the belts back. But they retained. Surprise. What you got, man?
Honestly, I think Black Diamond and Black Danger actually impressed me quite a bit. I hope they can actually bring them into the Impact Zone because I saw some of the moves they were pulling off was pretty cool. So, yeah, this wasn't anything amazing or whatnot, but some of the stuff they did show was pretty cool. But I agree, OVE to this point has not really impressed me that much. Hopefully something changes and they start clicking.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's kind of weird. It's a common theme to happen where someone steps in the ring with OVE and they impress us audience more than actually OVE does. But I don't know, like OVE's hype videos were good. They came in with a lot of hype. I've been hearing about them for a long time on Impact Asylum. I mean, shit, Trevor Lee wrestles a whole lot better for companies outside of Impact too. So maybe these guys are a whole lot fucking better outside. For some reason, performers just decide, hey, you know what? And all these fucking sweaty nerds that we go to PWG shows and all that, let's bust our ass for them. But the company that fucking, you know, puts us on TV, pays us a whole lot better, and is trying to make something out of us and stars, we'll just half-ass for them and not do what we can do. But anyways, moving on there. So, man, one thing that I will say, Dan Lambert, I've said a couple times, the season of The Ultimate Fighter with the Black Zillions versus ATT. I didn't maybe because I'm a big fan of Ronald Johnson and Rashad Evans. Yeah, I was kind of Black Zillions to start with. I didn't like Dan Lambert at all. He was fucking annoying to me. I thought he was kind of a douche and a prick in a way. But, man, Dan Lambert cut a good fucking promo. And it's pretty cool to see this guy who owns the MMA gym because, look, a lot of MMA fans and stuff, they don't respect pro wrestling. But Dan Lambert, obviously, a huge wrestling fan. He cut a pretty goddamn good promo. And I want to give props to this man. He put that over. We know we're going to get King Mo and Lashley against Stephen Bonner and Moose at Bound for Glory now. But, man, like, here's the thing I want to say real fast, Hurls. So, another thing that I hear people bitching and griping about, dude, is the fact that fucking Dan Lambert and ATT, you know, that they're getting all this talk time and, you know, like, TV time. Okay, for one, like, this is Moose versus Lashley in a way. This is fucking big. This is two of the biggest stars. If you don't understand the fact that this is a fucking attempt to get back in good graces with Bellator, a.k.a. get back in good graces with Spike and beneficial for this company overall, then you're missing the point. And this is also, in a way, like, we're getting Colby Covington, and here's the thing, Colby Covington, they're making a big name. He's a fucking nobody in the UFC. He really is. But Bonner's got a big name. King Mo's got a big name. There's Bellator. This is a very respectable MMA, like, gym, like one of the top in the world, if not the. So, look, you're going to possibly get some MMA outlets that are going to carry this and pay attention, which could possibly open some doors to some MMA fans, you know, tuning into Impact or respecting it more. But also, I mean, like, this is Bellator is a bigger fucking thing than Impact Wrestling is. MMA is bigger than Impact Wrestling. Like, I think WWE may have more popularity and a bigger thing than UFC is, but MMA as a whole, much bigger than Impact, okay? Much. So I hear people saying, like, who in the hell is Dan Lambert? Who, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, he may not be like the fighter, but Dan Lambert's pretty goddamn relevant. And MMA is more relevant than fucking Impact Wrestling. So anyone complaining about this needs to just fucking drop it, okay? I don't give a shit that everything is fucking has to be be-all, end-all of pro wrestling. And this was a goddamn good promo. Dan Lambert getting the thing over. Hurls, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I actually was surprised that he was such a big wrestling fan. And, it was really cool that he had all those classic titles held by Jerry Lawler, Road Warrior, Hawk, and Ric Flair. I think that was really cool. And it was also really cool to hear that he got into MMA kind of by accident by a Japan called the UWF, which I believe had a lot of shoot elements to it. So maybe go to Wikipedia or Google and kind of read history about that, because it is pretty cool. But I agree with you as well. I think this promo was pretty well done. The fans were really going crazy with it. They were making a lot of noise, but that's good. That means there's heat. There's some heat in this match. So I am looking forward to this. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm surprised that King Mo's kind of the one that's representing them, but I mean, all 6 of them are going to be there, so I guess it doesn't really matter in that regard. But this has actually been a surprise angle for me. I didn't really think I was going to like it at all, but it's turned out to be halfway decent. I'm not going to say it's my favorite angle going into Bound for Glory, but it's definitely some points.
Yeah, man, you're right. Like Dan Lambert got some legitimate, real fucking heat out there, dude. He really did. And you take this crowd that sounds dead most of the time. No offense, Chef. We know you and your Team 6 aren't. But I mean, look, you do the Impact crowd, Impact Zone, zombified a lot of times, dead, slow, quiet as fuck, especially towards the end of these long-ass marathon tapings. And Dan Lambert's out there getting heat. It's calling him sheep. He's mocking wrestling fans. Cheer when you're told to cheer, boo when you're told to boo, and that's kind of like more true than Impact fans really want to fucking admit to with the Impact Zone. But, I mean, he keeps it real, calling him sheep out there. The dude did a good job. And, yeah, seeing him take out all those belts that he has with his collectibles and all, with the Ric Flair, the Road Warrior, was it Dusty that he said? I mean, dude, it was Jerry Lawler. I mean, it was awesome. Super cool. I actually gained a little bit more respect for Dan Lambert. But, it's definitely giving wrestling some credibility in the MMA community, in my opinion. And, I'm not surprised with King Mo. I mean, King Mo's been trained to wrestle. He's been involved with Impact. I was surprised Stephen Bonner came out. But, again, I'd much rather see just Moose versus Lashley one-on-one. But, I'm excited to see this. I do think maybe with Dan Lambert being in their corner, I think Jeff Jarrett was probably going to be in the corner of these two, especially with, the way that we saw Jeff and Lambert get into it on TV. But clearly that's not going to happen. But, yeah, man, I'm definitely not disappointed in how this went at all. So definitely was a fucking breath of fresh air. And another breath of fresh air. So, Hurls, we had the Knockouts main event, Impact Wrestling. It's not all the time this happens. It's not the first. Impact was the first company to do that. But so Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie, and we saw Taya get the pinfall over Rosemary. Rosemary is over as fuck. Taya is very impressive. And so at the end, Rosemary challenged her to a Bloody Mary match. I think my assumption, as well as most people's, is that it's going to be a first blood match. That's pretty not something that happens all the time with women's wrestling either. So Bound for Glory, we got Rosemary versus Taya. Bound for First Blood, a.k.a. Bloody Mary. Rose, what were your thoughts on the match and what we got at Bound for Glory?
I really liked the match, and I thought it was a really good main event. Two women that can really go, and both Canadian. But no, it was really cool to see Taya Valkyrie kind of mix it up with someone who can really go. And I think it was a very good match. I think Rosemary is so over with the fans. It's, she's such a hot ticket, and Taya's, she's really, getting across the fact that she's, a heel. And I thought this match was really well done. And I think the finish, some people may have been upset that Rosemary lost, but actually I don't think it matters at all, because with the stipulation that Rosemary set to tie up Bound for Glory, I think it still makes her look strong. And I think that their match at Bound for Glory is going to be off the chain. Both these women can work, and they're fantastic workers, and props to them. I know they're going to have a great match at Bound for Glory, and I think it might be one of the best on the card, if not the best on the card.
Yeah, man, I mean, look, no disrespect to women or to the knockouts or anything, I do enjoy the knockouts division, at least for the most part of the years. There have been times where I really haven't, but the knockouts division, man, I do enjoy men's wrestling more than women's. But this match I may be looking forward to more than anything on the Bound for Glory card. Look, Johnny Impact and Taya Valkyrie are together in real life. They both came in at the same time. Impact has done a goddamn good job with both these two at really making them look like stars. And, people want to be upset about Rosemary losing and whatnot. I mean, look, I wish that, like, we have special ties to Rosemary. Like, we fucking love Rosemary for different reasons on this show. I mean, she really kind of put us on the map to the interview with us and all. Brought us Crazy Steve. But, I mean, like, regardless, man, I'd like to see Rosemary just, be super strong, and be it rare that she loses as well. But, it's definitely built Taya as a star. And I don't think it's hurt Rosemary too much, but I think that these two are going to tear it down. It's a good thing to give Taya that win, not only to build her up, but to actually make her look more credible. I think the fact that it's a first blood match with females, which is very rare, Bound for Glory is doing, again, something groundbreaking for women's wrestling from this company. I'm excited as hell about it. I think it is going to be great, just like you say. The thing I wonder, Hurls, is, I mean, on Asylum, people were talking like this match should be the co-main event, heading into the main event. The thing that I say with that, man, if that's the case, that's fine. But this isn't the title match. Do you feel like, so Bound for Glory, man, this is how we're going to close out. Bound for Glory, do you think this match should go before the championship match, or do you think the championship match should go before this one?
Well, I think that it could go after the title match. You mean the Knockouts title, correct?
Yeah. I mean, not the main event, after Johnny and Eli, but I mean, the Knockouts championship match, should that go on the card first before this match, or should it go on before the Knockouts championship match?
Yeah, I actually think this one probably should go after the Knockouts title match, because I think it's got more heat to it. The other match is just kind of like, I don't want to say put together, but it doesn't have the same drama as this one seems to have. So, Taya pretended to come in as a face, but she ends up turning on Rosemary. So I think, like, if it does go that high, I actually think this one should go after the Knockouts title match, because I think it's just got a better storyline to it. And the fact that it's going to be a first blood match. So I think that alone makes it pretty intriguing. And it's got Rosemary, who's super over right now, more so than I would say Ali or Gilson or Sienna. So, and Taya has a very impressive debut as well. So I'd be totally fine if it was after the Knockouts championship match.
Hurls, I mean, you're right. I think the match for one is going to be better than the championship matches. I do. I think that this has more drama and build to it. It's got that special flavor to it and all. And I understand why everyone wants to see this kind of be the match that leads us into Johnny Impact versus Eli Drake for the belt. That said, man, it's still, I don't think that it should go on after the Knockouts championship match. I think that title match needs to be saved special, keep the credibility of the belt. It is Gail Kim's fucking, farewell call, her swan song. She's leaving, retiring soon. And so I think that that title match still has to go on as the top women's match, or the last women's match on the card. And so those are my thoughts there on that. I'd be fine with either one, but I feel they got to keep the credibility of the belt. And I do hope that what we do see, because I'm sure Gail's going to end up at least champion at some point on her way out, whether it happens Bound for Glory or after that. I just want to see Gail get in there and wrestle Ali, wrestle Rosemary, and wrestle Taya all one-on-one. So, and I hope that Rosemary ends up being the one to dethrone her and get put over before Gail ends out. But, that's kind of been the topic and the talk of the town. I don't feel like, I apologize, man, for everyone listening, like I'm a little worked up over this Jarrett thing and all. Sorry if I spent too much time, sent a little kind of off my game tonight, but it's an emotional time for me as an Impact fan, and just, there's a lot of gloom and doubt over my head. But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Hurls, you got anything to say before we head out for the Heelcast this week?
I just want to. I'll give Impact 7.0 this week. I think it was a little better than last week, but I'm hoping these last 2 weeks are going to be just great, promoting Bound for Glory, and the build-ups for the storylines there's going to be some great turns to it. So, yeah, just keep watching Impact. Get the Global Wrestling Network if you don't have it. And support the company any way you possibly can. If you are a fan of Impact, I think you should definitely want to support it, especially in these uncertain times with, Jeff Jarrett leaving and the possible rumor of Anthem not having money. So, support Impact, do what you can if you like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I'm going to just end out like this. Look, I definitely have not been very positive as far as the product on the TV screen was. Last week when I came back to the show, I haven't been the most positive today either, but I do want to say this. Look, this week's episode of Impact, what wasn't the greatest, it definitely was entertaining. And I'll be honest, too, I hadn't really been up to par as far as watching Impact, but I fucking got Impact watched pretty damn quick this week. I made sure to get it watched, so I'm on it more. It was more entertaining. And look, Bound for Glory, from what I understand, from what I've been hearing from reports, Bound for Glory is like sold out. So that's fucking awesome. Thank you, Canada. Good job, Anthem, Impact. And I can't wait. Look, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen Bound for Glory. If you're satisfied, if you're not or whatnot, I mean, I'm still kind of excited to see what goes on with these next set of tapings afterwards. I just want Bound for Glory to get here so we can kind of just wipe off this negativity, the shit that's been on TV that's kind of bothering us. Get there. I don't think this roster is going to disappoint, and we'll see where it goes from there. But, man, yeah, you're right, Hurls. Listen to Hurls. Listen to me. Support this company, man. Just keep tuning in. Try and help these ratings because, fucking A. I'm not a wrestling fan of this company goes. Like, I'm done with wrestling. Something I've been around for since I was little. And, you still got to support it. And I still am loyal to this company, and that's the only one. And I just want to see them turn around. So, support it. Get there. Tune in. Help these fucking ratings because God knows they need it. So, Hurls, thank you for saying that, man. Keep the positivity. This is the RAV representing the Heelcast with my man Hurls with me. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everyone. Watch Impact Wrestling. Don't turn into Impact Wrestling every Thursday night. You're a piece of shit helping the company die. Peace out.
It was a tremendous day.